Hello and welcome everyone in this video tutorial on chapter Conservation of Plants and Animals. There is a variety of plants and animals on the earth. All the living organisms have different habitat such as grasslands, deserts, polar regions, forest and in water. All the organisms in one place are interdependent to fulfill their needs. These organisms also depend on abiotic components of the nature. Example, through plants, though plants get air, water and sunlight from the nature to survive, plants help soil to keep its particles bind together and thus help to prevent soil erosion. And the wild animals which are there, they help plants in survival by providing them carbon dioxide. So there is a linkage between plants and animals. And because of this linkage, our ecosystem is balanced. So in this chapter, we will be studying why, how, and in what manner we can conserve plants and animals. Just listen to the sound in the background. Close your eyes. How pleasant this sound is. How calming this sound is. But what if this sound is no more? The morning you wake up, you find your surroundings like the image in the slide. What if this happens? I'm not giving you a rough idea, but the way how we are dealing with, if we follow the same way on earth, soon enough within next 20 to 30 years there will be no wildlife on earth, means forest and animals both. What would happen then? Everything will be devastated. A couple of years ago, we heard that 50% of all vertebrate species, vertebrate means those who have backbone, जो भी जानवर हैं जिनके पास backbone होती है, vertebrate species had disappeared in 40 years. On Thursday, we were greeted with news that by 2020, the figure is likely to rise 66% of all vertebrae. It is no wonder that the environmentalists are shouting. It is no wonder that they are so desperate to get this message heard. Animals, it seems, are on the way out, and no one appears to much care. Sure, there will be some touch choices at first. One particularly pressing matter would be finding a way to cross-pollinate flowering crops. What I'm telling you is right now is the things what if there are no animals. First of all, I'm taking the question, what if there are no animals? If there are no animals, there will be no flowers, and no flowers means no fruits. No fruits, no seeds, and no food. Trees and insects co-involve, or I should say they are related to or linked to each other. The plants offering a sugary reward to the insects is return for their pollination service. You all heard, you all are aware about that plants provide, the flower has nectars which these butterflies eat and they do the pollination. How much would we be able to achieve without bees and flies? The problem of cross fertilization would quite simply be solved by robots or people on a daily day basis, because that will be the only thing which will be left. We will be required to robots to do the job of the animals. They could be made to hand fertilize flowers. They could like be um, unthinking bees. What can I say? You will be amazed to know hand fertilization, which I'm telling you, like robots are doing the pollination, is already common practice in some parts of the world where invertebrate populations have already been ravaged. Think of the saving of such plant. Robots don't need surgery, water produced by the plants, after all, they run on cheap oils and gas, which there's plenty of forever. Without invertebrates, everyone wins, isn't it? More seriously, there could be other benefits. Think of climate change. Global emissions of carbon dioxide would be greatly reduced without them. Seeing that the gas that sprouts forth coming from animal farms and other human activities, it will be reduced. But that will also reduce the intake of plants. Killing all the animals, removing all the animals will remove the carbon dioxide, but that will also remove the plants because plants need that carbon dioxide. They make their food with the help of that carbon dioxide. So we have to think before we act. Now, if I say that suppose there are no plants on the earth, only animals are able to survive, it is also not possible. Without plants, no transpiration, no rainfall, nothing. There will be no water on earth to drink. Thank to plant. A plant is only responsible, a plant or a tree, they are responsible for bringing rain. That is the reason our ancestors used to, I should say, pray or gave these plants a goddess part, a god part. They were treated like god because they bring the rain. Without them, there will be no rain, and whole of the earth will be a barren land. The land which is visible in the image, everywhere will be like same. Droughts. You know what is drought? Sukha. Everything will be dead. In order to understand the connection or the relation uh, between plants and animals, first of all, we need to know what is biodiversity and what is biosphere. So, according to the definition of biodiversity, variety of organisms that exist on the earth, their interrelationships and their relationship with their environment is called biological diversity and the biodiversity. A bit confused, isn't it? I will simplify the term. Biodiversity or biological diversity is a term that describes the variety of living beings on earth. In other words, it is or it can be described as the degree of variation of life. Degree of variation of life. Biological diversity encompass microorganisms, or encompass means, or you can say include microorganisms, plants, animals, and ecosystem such as coral reefs, forest, rainforest, deserts, etc. Biodiversity is never evenly distributed. It varies greatly across the world as well as within a region. The diversity also depends on other factors like temperature, altitude, other species living in that region, etc. So in next slide, we are going to understand what does the biodiversity include. Biodiversity involves basically 5 categories: species, habitat, endemic species, migratory species, fauna and flora. First of all, what is a species? A group of plants or animals having certain common characteristics which distinguish them from others and which can interbreed among themselves are called species. A group of plants or animals having certain common characteristics. For example, a mango. If I having a mango seed, it is going to grow as a mango tree. You can't imagine a seed of mango, but the tree will be of guava. Quite not possible. And if there is a mango tree, then it will always give rise to mangoes. You can't imagine a guava hanging from a mango tree, or a pineapple or any other coconut hanging from a mango tree. Quite not possible. So that is the thing which happens. Another example, if I consider a dog. So dog is also a species. Now that dog will give birth to a dog. It can't give birth to a cat or a rat. Understood? Similarly, is the case of human beings. Okay. For example, there are approximately 4,740 species. Now this is a rough number, okay, of frogs around the entire world. I'm repeating again, 4,740 species of frogs around the entire world. And Rana tigris is one of them. Rana tigris, this is a scientific name given to a special, you can say, species of a frog. Rana tigris is one of them. Similarly, Homo sapiens or human beings are one species among all animals. The name of mango, the scientific name of mango is Mangifera indica, which is written in the slide. Next is habitat. The natural environment where a plant or animal species live, reproduce, and thrives naturally is called habitat. The natural environment, not the artificial one. Where can we find artificial one? We can find artificial one in the zoo. Okay, for example, the artificial habitat given inside your house for fish is aquarium. In aquarium you keep fishes at home. That is an artificial habitat which you are providing. What is their natural habitat? Pond, sea, or river, from where they belong. Okay, the habitat of a fish is a water body, can be pond, river, etc. But the habitat of a camel is desert. Okay, so what different types of habitats can be? Pond, river, desert, snow lanes like Icelands. Okay, or many more. There are many types of regions like savanna and tundra and taiga. You all are aware about those. These are the natural habitats. Next is endemic species. Endemic species are plants and animals that exist only in one geographic region. They exist in only one region. Okay. Species can be endemic to large or small areas of the earth. Some are endemic to a particular continent, some to a some to a part of continent, and others to a single island. Example, Asiatic lions are endemic to Gir National Park, Gujarat, India only. Okay. Another examples of endemic species are lion-tailed macaque, nilgai. Okay. These are the examples of endemic species because they are only in this region only. They are not found in any other region. So if these animals are extinct from this region, they are nowhere to be found. Next is migratory species. The species of animals or birds. Now migratory species can't be plants, okay, because plants can't move. So migratory species include birds or animals that migrate or move from their native place to new place for some particular period of time for food, shelter, breeding, or you can say finding a favorable temperature to survive. These are called migratory species. For example, Siberian crane travels long distance and come to India during winters in order to escape unfavorable conditions. The phenomena of the movement of animals or birds in a group from one place to another to overcome unfavorable conditions of living is called migration. I have provided you few examples of migration, that is Siberian crane, steppe eagle, snow leopard. They move, they are on continuously movement. Okay. Last one is fauna and flora. The various species of plants living in their habitat is known as flora. Flora comes from flower. So, the various species of plants living in their natural habitat is known as flora of that place, where the numerous species of animals living in their habitat is known as fauna at that place. For example, a pond is the flora of various aquatic plants, lotus, water lily, etc. And fauna of aquatic animals varies species of fishes, frogs, and can be crocodile and etc. etc. Okay. So what is the basic clarity you got from all these things is species are related to a biological area, or you can say a area. Now, if there is a species, then it need a habitat to live, a natural habitat to survive. And if that habitat is favorable, if that habitat is having food, water, and everything, then uh, there will be a migratory species. There would be migratory species which will come to that location to survive. Okay. Now, endemic species are those species which live in that area only, which are found in that area only. And fauna and flora, that are the combined name given to the plants and animals of that area. So after biodiversity, the next is biosphere. Biosphere is a combination of words from Greek language. Bios means life, and sphere means a geometrical shape in three-dimensional, that is the surface of a ball. You can say you know about it very well. So biosphere is the layer of the planet Earth where life exists, or part of Earth that supports life is called the biosphere. It is here that all living organisms exist. The biosphere is one of the four layers that surround the Earth, along with the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. And it is the sum of all the ecosystems. So basically, when we combine all the ecosystems, we get a one biosphere. So ecosystem can be land ecosystem can be water ecosystem can be air ecosystem. So when we combine the multiple ecosystems together, we get to know about the biosphere. In next slide or next image you will view, things will be much more clarified. Look at this biodiversity web. Biodiversity, as I told you, everything is connected to each other. For example, bat is providing carbon dioxide to the plants, and in return it is getting oxygen. Small birds, they are collecting nectars from the plants, and with the nectar they are uh, transferring the pollen grain, or they are helping in the pollination. This pollination is necessary or mandatory for production of fruits. all organism all living organism in a biological region are somehow attached to each other in a symbiotic relationship. Okay, someone is taking something, so in return they are giving something. For example, uh, just taking an example of animals like cows and buffaloes, or horse or other animals. You all are aware, you all have seen uh, what does the dung of cow has, or other animals has. When they eat fruit, the seed is not digested inside their body. When these animals eat fruit, the seed is not digested in their body. This seed is transferred from one location to another inside their stomach. And when they release the fecal matter, these seeds came out. And the ammonia in their dung, as well as the humus near them, help in germination of seed. Hence, forest area increase by itself. So this is the way how all things, all living organism in a biological region or a biodiversity are connected to each other. Studied everything about biodiversity, okay, and biosphere. Now you should understand, or you should know about this also, that what if this biodiversity is lost? What is loss of biodiversity? Biodiversity has an important role to play with for this world, such as maintaining the eco balance, providing medicines, nutrients, cultural values, clothing, shelter, water, resources, raw materials, and etc. There are many more uses. Today, the demands of human beings in all the terms like food, clothing, furniture, and daily requirements are causing the exploitation of the ecosystem. What humans have to do is they have to live with the ecosystem. They have to survive with the ecosystem. What they are doing is they are exploiting this ecosystem for fulfilling their demands. Trees are being cut and resources are being overused. Resources are being overused, and I will just give you an example how resources are being overused. Most you have seen the most of people have that submersible in their house. They don't 90% of people can't use this water, submersible water, for drinking because it is salty water. The best thing they do with this water is they use this water for cleaning purpose. Okay, this water can't be given in plants also either. So this water is used uh, in early morning. I have seen I have been to many villages. मैं कई villages में गया हूँ और उनके आसपास से मैंने देखा है अर्ली मॉर्निंग आप जाओ तो घर के बाहर कोई ना कोई बुजुर्ग खड़ा होता है, वो पानी को फव्वारा बना के गेट धो रहे हैं. दे आर वॉशिंग देयर गेट्स, दे आर वॉशिंग देयर वॉल्स, दे आर जस्ट डिस्ट्रॉइंग द वाटर इन सीवेज. नालियां धुल रही होती हैं. What is the purpose of it? This type of thing is called this type of damage to resource, or this type of thing is known as exploitation of ecosystem or overuse of resource. Okay, so responsible these resources are very much needed for us, but if wasted, they are just creating pollution and they are just destroying the biodiversity. Now, the first factor here how we are destroying biodiversity is through deforestation. Now, if I say deforestation, then somehow we need this deforestation. Somehow we need there is need of wood. We need wood for our daily use, many use I should say. Should not say daily use, but for multiple need we use this wood. So wood has to be taken from the trees. But does this mean that we have to chop off complete mountains from the trees? Does this mean that we have to wipe out complete forest? No. So first of all, what are the major causes of deforestation? Why deforestation is done? For rapid urban development. What does the meaning of this rapid urban development? The rapid urban development means the population of human is increasing. We need new lands to create buildings and living places. So trees must be cut, forest areas must be destroyed in order to create a living place for the human being. Next is agriculture related purpose. Agriculture related purpose means the land, just take a land. If it is 100-acre land, that land can only produce a limited amount of you can say grains or whatever the crops. So in order to have more crops, what human need to do, he will just simply cut off the trees nearby area and he will increase its area. So by increasing area, they will have more crops and all the things. So for agriculture, uh, trees are cut and farming is done. Someone will say, sir, farming is good for us because by farming we are able to generate food for everyone. So does this mean that food for everyone is bad? No, food for everyone is not bad. We need food, but that doesn't mean we have to exploit, you can say, forest for our food. Okay. Next is fuel requirement. People burn wooden sticks and all those things to have fuel, to cook food and to do a lot of things. Can't we live without burning wood? We can. There are options available. We can use CNG, we can use that LPG, we can use induction cooker, we can have huge amount of resources. We are not dependent on wood as a fuel nowadays, but still in rural areas people are only using this wood as a fuel. Setting up industries. Now suppose any big industrialists want to build a industry. So industry is good because industry is good for providing good socio-economic conditions, for providing good economy, for jobs and everything. Industry is good. Industry should be there. Industry has to be created. But does this say that industries has to be created on a forest land? They can be created or they can be built on a barren land. So if you are chopping off trees just to make an industry, it is an exploitation. But again, if that industrialist is a very good person and he is aware about nature, he can do that. The number of trees he has chopped, he can do that. He can near to his area or in this industry, he can plant more number of trees than he has chopped. So it is completely dependent on the human nature. Next, making furniture. To make furniture, we need to have wood. I don't need to explain this point. But I can ask about the alternatives. There are plastic. There are the PET jars or the Coca-Cola and the water bottles you use. When they are once it is finished, these bottles are just thrown out. There are multiple companies who collect these water bottles or all the plastic and recycle it and create very beautiful furnitures. They can human can opt for those furnitures, or they can opt for steel furnitures or etc. We are not more dependent on wood. Moreover, natural causes like forest fires, droughts, etc. are also responsible for deforestation. Forest fires, right now the current situation is California is burning. The forest of California in America are burning. So it is a we can't if this fire is by natural purpose, we can't say we can't prevent it. Okay. Droughts. uh, in Maharashtra there are multiple regions. In Maharashtra there are multiple regions जहाँ पे 5 साल में सिर्फ कुछ बूंदे पानी बरसता है. हर 5 साल में कुछ बूंदे पानी बरसता है. बस that's it. So droughts are always there, and because of droughts they do not have any vegetation. They are losing the biodiversity to a very high extent. वहाँ की हालत इतनी बुरी है लातूर और आसपास के एरियाज की that trains, water trains have to go there. ट्रेन्स हर वीकली हर 2 या 3 दिन में एक ट्रेन जाती है, वो वहां पे पानी सप्लाई करती है, so that the people living there can have water. Okay. So these are the things which add up for the deforestation. Okay. We have seen the why do we do deforestation. Now what are the causes of deforestation or consequences of deforestation, what deforestation does. So first is increased pollution level on earth. I don't need to explain this thing. Okay, pollution of on earth is increasing day by day, and because there are less number of trees, so pollution is up on the high. Increase in carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas and responsible for global warming, and because of the increase in carbon dioxide gas, temperature on earth will go on rising. So again same thing came here. Increase in temperature or global rising just connected to the carbon dioxide, because plants are the only living creatures on the earth which convert this carbon dioxide into usable oxygen. And if they are not there, then this carbon dioxide will always remain there. You won't be able to convert it into oxygen. Okay, lowering the level of groundwater. uh, Groundwater, we are the groundwater on our earth is sorry, not increasing, it is decreasing day by day. Okay, it is going inside depth yearly. So why it is happening? Because we are chopping out the trees. Trees are responsible for transpiration. Transpiration is responsible for water vapors, and water vapors cause the rain. So if there are no trees, no transpiration, no water vapor, no rain. So ultimately what will happen? Groundwater has to be recharged. Groundwater has to be recharged. If groundwater is not recharged, so water level will go down and down. So it's a loss. So all these things will do the disturbance in, or the they will disturb the balance of nature. And if balance of nature is disturbed, then another more and more things will come on to earth, tsunamis and earthquakes and etc etc etc. Okay, decrease in rainfall, I have just explained this thing. Now, decrease in fertility of soil, yes, definitely. Plants are responsible to maintain the fertility of soil, because what the plants do, they the leaves of the dead leaves of the plant, when they fall on the ground, they are responsible for making it or as a manure, or they change into humus. Now, if there are no plants, then no trees, then there is no humus, and no humus means fertility of soil is completely lost. Increase in the change of natural calamities such as droughts and floods. I have explained this thing. Okay. Okay, one point which is not mentioned here is change in climate. Human activities such as urbanization and industrialization and some natural activities have led to global climatic change. Only some species of plants and animals adjust to the changing climate, but not all. The species which are not able to adjust to the changing climate behavior or the outside their surroundings, they go on extinct. They just die. Okay. Or this led to the growth of invasive species. This led to the growth of invasive species. An invasive species is a species that is not from the native. वो उस जगह की होती नहीं है, and has a tendency to spread to a degree believed to cause damage to the environment, human economy, or human health. So when an invasive species is introduced to a new place, it grows rapidly and hinders the growth of existing species. जो वहां की existing species होती है वो उसको खराब कर देती है, destroy off कर देती है. There are multiple regions, there are examples where कोई चीज कहीं वहां पे नहीं थी, उस चीज को दूसरी जगह से लाके वहां पे रखा, they spread up very rapidly, and because of that the natural or the वहां के जो existing species थी वो destroy हो गई. So that is another thing. Okay. Example are growth of water hyacinth on the water surface hinders the growth of other aquatic organisms. Pollution of air, water and land also cause the loss of biodiversity as it affect health of plants and animals. So these were the points related to the loss of biodiversity. Another thing which you should know here is poaching. The poaching, meaning of the poaching is hunting of animals for their meat, skin and other body parts illegally. I'm adding this word, illegal. Illegal hunting of animals for their skin, meat and other body parts is called poaching. Generally, someone will say, sir, there is a butcher shop there and they are killing goat and they are killing hens and chickens. So is it poaching? No, that is legalized. Those animals are kept alive only for the purpose of food. But when we are killing animals who are already endangered for their skin, meat and other body parts, that is illegal. Okay. For example, rhinos are killed for their horns. Don't know what they are going to do with their horns, but they are killed for their horns. Lions and tigers, they are killed for their skin. It is disgusting. Okay. So in order to I should say protect the loss of biodiversity or protect the biodiversity, we need to start the conservation of wildlife. From conservation of wildlife, we doesn't mean that we have to only save the animals. We have to save animals as well as plants. Both are there. We have to work for both. Wildlife conservation is a practice of protecting endangered plants, animal species, and their habitats in an effort to maintain the ecological balance. So these are the activities which are banned by GOI. GOI stands for Government of India. At least we are talking about our country. Right now, I am not talking about all other countries. First of all, we will discuss about our country, the things which are done in our country. So cutting down trees, it is illegal. For example, in Himachal, you can't cut a tree. If anyone found that you are cutting a tree and it is reported, then they can imprison you for 10 years, or you can be filling a fine of 10 lakh rupees. Himachal and Uttaranchal, yes, I'm correct. I'm giving you the exact data. So cutting of trees in some states is illegal. You can't cut those trees. Okay, grazing cattle. So someone will say, sir, what harm is in grazing cattle? Cattle need fodder or they need food. Yes, they need food. They need something to eat because they are dairy animals. If they won't eat, then you won't have milk and other products. So what should be done? We can't allow these animals to be inside a wild area because these animals, a group of 100 cattles, or you can say goats, it can be goats, it can be cows, it can be any wildebeest, or it can be anything. They can destroy a complete grassland in merely 5 to 8 hours. They will eat off everything. This is the reality. So grazing of cattle in wildlife or wild area is not at all allowed. If you have to graze the cattle, grow whatever their food in your own field and allow them to go inside that field only. You're not allowed to graze your cattle inside a forest or inside a wild area. Hunting, poaching, as I said, hunting is definitely not allowed. So I don't need to say anything about it. Okay, so plantation and cultivation. Plantation and cultivation means farming is not at all allowed in forest area or wildlife area. Okay, and poaching, again, poaching is not allowed. Poaching means that illegal killing illegal animals who are endangered. That is not allowed. Hunting means there, even that there is a difference between hunting and poaching. Now you should know about this thing, that there is a very simple difference between hunting and poaching. Poaching means killing those animals who are already in danger, and hunting means killing animal which are not in danger. Okay, that doesn't mean that animal is not in danger, you are not supposed to kill it. Okay, if it is in wildlife and it is a wild animal, and for suppose if I talk about nilgai, which is available around us, there is a ban on killing those and these nilgais. Okay, you're not supposed to kill them. That killing, though the number of nilgais is very large in our region, in this region, so it will be called hunting. And if the number like tigers, and if I are talking about lions where number is very low, it will be known as poaching. But in both situations, killing is not at all allowed. That's all. Thanks for viewing this video. In next video, we will discuss about the next parts of the chapter, that is related to the how what are the things which are done by government to protect these wildlife. Okay, that is biological park and sanctuaries and national parks and all those things. We will discuss in the other video.